Speaking of Chris Jericho, it has been reported that a former Inner Circle member Santana and Eddie Kingston had gotten into a confrontation backstage. At the same time, this report has come out. One of the biggest, two of the biggest kind of like incidents that have been happening in AEW. One is this Athena incident where Athena and a woman worked a very, very physical, stiff match on AEW Dark. Kind of led to a lot of speculation and a lot of public critique. And then right after that, Hangman Adam Page suffered an apparent injury during the main event of Dynamite against John Moxley. And there have been a lot of conversations kind of circulating around the internet wrestling community pertaining to these incidents and what it means for AEW. So, with all of these things considered, do you think that AEW is an unsafe work environment? And we could break it down incident by incident, but I just wanted to know your take on everything that's been happening and, yeah.
Honestly, in terms of those two matches that you just mentioned, I don't think that the workers that you just mentioned are, unhinged and reckless. I don't think so. And I did later find out that between the women's match that was all planned, that they wanted to be stiff, that apparently that's how, I think her name is Jody, I believe. That's how
Yeah.
she likes to sell her moves and take her bumps or whatnot. And that Athena, from what people were saying that were watching live, the camera gives you a totally different view than when you're in person. They were saying that like the punches that look so aggressive weren't even landing in person when they were watching, but on camera it looked like to people that, oh my gosh, Athena's just being the crap out of this girl. Like, what did she
Mm-hmm.
do? Is she mad? Is this a shoot fight or whatnot? And then people are ragging on her. And then, of course, with the Adam situation, with him suffering a concussion because the lariat, in my head, when I'm watching that, I'm just like, I'm thinking about, all right, is Hangman okay? But of course, the internet being the internet decides that they want to make this a war. Every time there's an injury that happens or a botch that happens, the internet's first instinct after asking, "Is was this a botch or not?" is to just point a finger at who's wrong and who did this, and then to say, "Oh my gosh, this person's a terrible worker. They're so rough with people. They're so uncoordinated. They could have took away this person's life." Now I get it. I get it. We are fans and we feel an emotional connection to all these people, all these talents, because they have an impact on us in our lives. So I get that
Absolutely.
we care for them and we're looking for, their best interests, but to go out of your way, as someone who's never laced up a pair of boots before or been in a ring, and to just point fingers and say, "Wow, that person is a terrible person. They suck at wrestling." Well, I mean, you could say someone sucks at wrestling. That's an
Yeah.
opinion. But to say this person is super reckless off of one botch, as if you guys haven't made a mistake before, and that these people
In
aren't
life.
humans, and that they don't read social media and see these type of comments and how it could negatively impact their mental health. I don't know. I strongly disagree with that, and that actually pissed me off.
Mm.
It actually pissed me off because John Moxley has been through a lot. I think he's overall a pretty safe worker. I would say Hangman is too. And the thing about wrestling is that it's a timing thing. It's a timing thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to trust the human with my life. They have to trust themselves with my life. Like that's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these people are stuntmans, they are athletes, they are actors, they have to remember spots and sequences. There's so much going on and so many moving parts. The fact that like if you like, look at it, that botches like this don't happen too often with all the matches and all the stuff that happens. It's just I feel as though you guys are kind of acting or kind of being a little harsh on these two. I kind of lost Jordan over here. Jordan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here. You can still hear me.
Okay, now you just disappeared on my screen.
You're good.
Um, but no, going back to what I was just saying, do I believe that sometimes they are reckless? Sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, the mid cards could be reckless, mainly because they do too many spot fest for my liking. But for a match like that, that went as long as it freaking did, all right, I'm pretty sure these two grown men were exhausted, you know, and a lariat's very hard to execute if you really think about it. Running up to someone and having to flip yourself, and then having someone come at you full force, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Mm.
And this could have just been a timing issue, and that's all it really was. It was just a timing issue, and I feel like we should just been more focused on the fact that Hangman Adam Page is okay instead of slandering and berating John Moxley. Because just like, can you imagine you're scared that you might have injured your partner or ended their career,
Mm,
and you go back to you go backstage and you're just waiting on some type of sign that this man's okay, and then you open up the internet, the internet's just slandering you and telling you that you're a terrible person. You should quit
right,
wrestling. Why are you still wrestling? You ended
right,
Hangman Adam Page's career. You know what I mean? That's not good for their mental health. It actually made a lot of people quit and not want to come back. It made people depressed. And we could reference Sasha, the Sasha versus Paige issue.
Page incident, yeah,
All she did was jump up and kick her legs out. I'm pretty sure you have done it before, where you just take two surfaces and you just kick your legs up. You don't think that that's going to be something that's really strong and impactful and it's going to paralyze someone, but it happened. It was an accident. And that's all
right,
this was, an accident. And I feel like the same way they were coming at Mox kind of reminded me of Sasha's issue. And Sasha
mm,
got depressed off of that.
mm,
She almost wanted to quit because
right,
everyone blamed her for Paige's career ending when, in all actuality, anything could happen at any given time. Vince blew out his quads walking inside of the ring. Both
I
of them.
remember that.
Like, he blew out his quads just walking. Like, anything could happen in this sport. That's why y'all sign paperwork. They know what they signed up for. I'm not
Right,
saying injure people and be reckless, but I'm saying y'all made mistakes too. They're humans. They're going to make mistakes too.
mm-hmm,
Let's just focus on the fact that they're good, that they're
right,
okay, that everyone's safe, everyone's fine. A concussion is not good, obviously, but a lot of us thought a lot worse was happening. So
right,
I'm praying for
same.
this man's health, but y'all need to just like chill. Just fucking chill. Sorry I went on a long behind rant, Jordan. I know you probably have a lot more to add to this,
No,
so I'm gonna let you
nah, nah,
go.
nah. You're totally fine. I was gonna say, when Jr. says like this ain't ballet, what did y'all think he was saying? Because
Hmm.
like that's a fact. Like this is a
Yeah,
very very physical
yeah.
sport. It's a very very physical sport, and it's a very very meticulous sport, meaning that the smallest thing can alter someone's not just match but livelihood. And so I think that when we look at these incidents, particular, I'll break it down incident by incident. But when we look at some of these incidents, we got to just take into account one, people's mental health and kind of their state of mind. Two, that everybody's doing the best that they can, and three, if you were in a position that they were in, you probably would have done worse than them because they're trained professionals and you're not. So let's go with incident. First off, the Santana and Eddie Kingston backstage confrontation. I don't know what it was about. We've been hearing stuff about Santana and Ortiz breaking up and him kind of moving in a different way. I don't know what that's about. I know that Eddie has had backstage confrontations before, but generally he's a very, very nice guy. But, I don't think that this is a point to say that AEW is an unsafe work environment. I think that any two people at a place that don't agree get into some form of confrontation, not just in wrestling, but in life. I've been at jobs and I've not liked people or I've disagreed with people or somebody said something and I got to be like, so, like, I don't think that that's unnatural or pointing to like them being unsafe or anything. So that's number one. Number two, with the Athena situation, if it's different from what it was on camera than it was in person, then we just got to take their word for it. Like, honestly, Athena and this woman worked the match. Those two know each other apparently. And maybe it was one of those things where they were doing something to give the perception or the illusion that it was a shoot fight. Once again, that's something that we don't know as the audience that the wrestlers know and may be doing to add on to the heightened drama or the replay value of the match, because you want people to watch your stuff over and over and over and over again. Um but what I will say is that apparently they said that AEW management had to talk to the two women afterwards and probably had to be on some like, hey, you got to tone it down because like people thought it was a shoot, and it is a very very sensitive time in AEW. So those are just a couple of things to consider. Now, when it comes to Hangman and Moxley, I agree 100% with everything that you're saying. There's an old saying that said it takes two to tango, and from what I saw, it looked like Hangman sold the lariat and he fell. in a very, very weird way. And, it was what it was. And, we're hoping for the best for him. And I'm glad that he's okay. Um, as it pertains to Moxley, I've never heard I never heard a comment about him being unsafe ever in wrestling prior to this incident. And so I've never heard anybody saying that he's unsafe. I've never heard anybody saying that he is a bad worker. So I don't think that the slander is necessary. Like, these two guys were having a hard hitting match and have had hard hitting encounters before. For God's sake, one of them pushed another one off of a ladder. So this is one of those things that they were doing to because it was on brand with the match. But I don't think that it's necessary to slander or to come at John Moxley in this manner. Clearly he was remorseful. I guess, I don't know if he knew that. I don't know if he thought he had a part in it or not, but clearly he was remorseful. The man was on one knee praying. I've never heard John Moxley and prayer in the same sentence ever in my life. So for him to be praying like means something. It was serious. It was something that he was concerned about. But all in all, I do just kind of want to point out that I don't think that any of these incidents really like say that AEW is unsafe, right? I don't think that that's the case at all. I do think that they do some risky things, and that's what separates them from WWE. But I don't think that it's an unsafe work environment. But I could be wrong. I was gonna say, did you have anything else that you wanted to kind of point to pertaining to this incident or these incidents, I should say, at large?
Well, yeah, no, the only extra thing I just wanted to add on about Mox is just on top of him being nervous and praying and thinking about Hangman, he had to literally pull himself together to cut a promo and try to end the show on a high with
Right,
MJF, which kudos to him because I couldn't. It could not have been me. I would have been panicking and like worried because the man wasn't moving. You know what I
right.
mean? So it's just like, again, just referencing back to what I just said before, y'all need to take it easy on some of these people, especially the workers that just don't have a bad track record. Now, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like your original question on is it like an unsafe work environment, I don't think that actually in ring is actually unsafe. I just think, again, they just do a lot of stupid, gimmicky stunts that they could just lessen, honestly, but they got a
Mm-hmm.
little bit better with the Spot Fest. The first year
Yeah.
that they were going, it was Spot Fest after Spot Fest after Spot Fest, especially with the tag teams. They were doing too much. But in terms of backstage, that's where I feel like they still need some work, and I feel like Tony Khan is doing a decent job, kinda. I mean, he has to get rid of Sammy for me to be fully convinced. But um, didn't we recently have someone released?
Ace Steel, CM
Yeah,
Punk's best
and
friend.
and
Yeah.
was he part of
He
the?
he was he was part of the incident,
Yeah, was he part of
apparently.
the scrum?
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly he was a part of the incident. So
yeah. So I feel like he's working on things.
hmm
Now as far as Eddie Kingston goes, I feel like some people would be quick to be like, "Oh, well, he's a problem too." The same way people are going to say that Sammy's always, a common denominator. But I mean, I could understand the frustration here with him only because they were in a group, you know?
hmm
And obviously there's differences going on with Santana and Ortiz at the moment. One wants to be in a tag team, one wants to be a single star. One person's probably like, yo, I got a family, I'm getting a good paycheck, you know what I mean? I may not be booked the way I want, but I got a job and my family's good. Like let's just be patient and see where it goes. And then you got the other person over here who's very much frustrated. They don't want to be in a tag team, they want to grow. Um, which doesn't shock me from Santana, only because, like, I believe he had said in an interview his favorite wrestler is Bret Hart, which told me everything I need to know. Like, you want to be that guy. You want to be that guy. You look up to a legend. You want to be that guy. I get it.
hmm
I get it. And Eddie, he's very emotional. That's what I got out of Eddie. Eddie's a very emotional man who
Right.
I just feel like needs a hug. I feel like he expresses all his emotions and anger and being grumpy. But I feel like
Right.
honestly, if you gave the man a hug, he would honestly come down a little bit.
Just a
I'm
little,
pretty
just a
sure that
tad.
this came more from a place. Yeah, yeah. I just feel like this just came from a place of just like, like we started off like this and look what you guys are doing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like there's gonna be nothing left of what we started with LAX. So
Mm.
I understood it, but I don't think that as of right now, I would say that their environment is as hostile as it was. I feel like it's gonna take some time to clean it up and it's slowly going the right direction. So that's just my full on take.
I hear you on that, and I agree. I have nothing to say, after that. So we're just gonna move on.